Well, Tom, thanks for coming over today. As you can see, we've got quite a collection here. I've been collecting your models, well, originally as a kid, back in the late 60s. But before we talk about some of the old designs you did for Monogram, let's go back. How did you get started in drawing cars and designing cars in the first place?
You know, I think what happened was I was in high school. I was just in high school after World War II had been over a little bit, but the hot rod scene had started to really take off in this country. During the war, of course, everything was rationed, and gasoline, tires, cars. I mean, you know, after the war, the hot rod thing just kind of blossomed, and it blossomed in Los Angeles and around where I was in Huntington Park especially. And there was a lot of custom cars on the street. These
now, was this during high school? Were you in high school at this time?
Yeah,
So while you were going to art school, I guess you did some work for Rod and Custom magazine?
Yeah, luckily I was always looking for little side jobs. You know, the tuition in those days is nothing like today, but to me it was, you know, it was astronomical. So I was always looking for side work, and a friend of mine who had done some work for Peterson magazine, Rod and Custom mainly, kind of turned me on to the editor there, and he'd seen some of my little car designs and said, you know, okay, and you know that kind of went from there.
You remember what you were paid for your first design?
Oh yeah, it was about $50 a page.
Well, that helped getting you through school.
Yeah,
and everything.
bought some pencils and paper and whatnot, and some paint.
So after graduation, what happened?
Well, I did graduate, which was fortunate. That was a tough 4 years, I got to tell you. It was all a grind, and fortunately, General Motors came out. They had a representative come out to the school to interview students, and they happened to like what I was doing, and I was hired by General Motors, and that was a dream come true. I mean, that was just on cloud nine.
You hit the lottery.
I hit the lottery. You got it.
All right, guys, welcome back. So we got the chassis basically finished. Painted the plating. We painted the gold stripes. If you didn't see, the way I did the gold stripes was I got this paint marker, gold, took that and was able to do all the highlights. It worked out really well. I put the motor in, and we hooked up the gears, all the framework and everything. Everything's in place. Wheels. Okay, all that's done. I decided I'm not going to wire the motor. It's just we need to move on, and I was procrastinating too long on it, and so we're just going to leave it the way it is. I left the intake plated from the way the kit came plated, just to give it a little bit of contrast. Then I dry brushed over top of the black valve covers with some gold, just again to give it a little definition, break everything up a little bit. The headers are on, and now we're going to have to do also the firewalls in place and the platform for the seats and everything. Next, we're going to move on to the chrome, or in this case, the gold plating. What I did was, you know, I usually take my chrome and I use oven cleaner to remove the chrome plating, but everybody always complains about how smelly it is. Well, I ran out of what I normally use, the Easy Off, and I went out and I got more, and I found this one here. Okay, it's Easy Off, but it's fume free. So I decided I'd give it a try. It's the same price as the one that comes in the yellow can, regular Easy Off. Put it in a bag, sprayed it in there, and usually within 10-15 seconds the tree is clean. This, it didn't do that. But I let it set overnight, and next day everything was gone. So whatever the ingredient that makes it real stinky that's missing from this one, it still works. It just takes a little longer. So if you guys want to try this, it's like $4 and change, $5 a can. You put it in a big Ziploc bag, which I keep on the side. I put the parts in, spray it, leave it overnight, and it's done. So just something else to try. So now we're going to go do just a little bit more cleanup on this. Some parts that didn't clean them up a little bit with the toothbrush here. And get some primer on it, and we're going to go from there. All right, be right back. All right, so as you remember, we took this chrome tree, or gold-plated tree. We sprayed it with the Easy Off oven cleaner, and it stripped it bare. And then we painted it with this metallic gold Krylon that I got at Hobby Lobby. Coats really well, and that's what we have. I gave it 2 light coats. It's far and away better than it was, in my personal opinion. A couple pieces I took off that I didn't want to get plated because I'm going to do different colors, such as the steering wheel. I didn't want that gold plated. I already took off the front grille, put some paint on there too. I'm going to dull that down because I want that to be a little dull, I think maybe. And one of the headers are all done too. That's the way that's going to look. Or actually put it here and zoom in there. Yeah, paint it, put some paint on the inside. That's what that looks like. And that will go on and look like this. Pretty cool look. Roughly. Zoom in again so you can see that. It's pretty cool. I like that. Very neat idea. So now the tedious task goes of pulling these pieces off and cleaning them up. Now, you know, when it was the plating, if I was to pull these off, scrape and clean, sand anything, matching, you know, of course it would reveal the plastic underneath. Touching it up would be noticeably, it would be noticeable. Now that it's this color that I have on hand, once I start peeling the parts off, I start doing a little bit of tidbits of cleaning here and there, I can always reapply some of this to it with the brush or something, and it's not going to be as noticeable. So that's one of the reasons. And like I said, I think this looks more realistic than the other plating did, so I'm very happy with that. So that's it for this for right now. So let me get back to work and start putting some panels on around the engine compartment and go from there. We'll be right back.